Okay, so in this series about the character of Moshiach, we began learning about the resistance of Moshe Rabbeinu, of Moses, when Hashem asked him to redeem the Jewish people. Moshe said to Hashem, please send someone else. And who do you want to go instead of himself? So there is various opinions about what Moshe Rabbeinu wanted. There's the Pirkei de Elazar, Ben Shekatev. One opinion said he wanted Hashem to send Eliyahu Hanavi. So Eliyahu Hanavi is going to announce the future redemption. Let him come now. Other opinion is he was asking Mashiach himself to go instead of him. Moshe was asking that the redemption from Egypt should be a complete redemption, should be true and complete forever. So why send me? Send instead Mashiach, send instead Eliyahu Hanavi. But Moshe Rabbeinu's request on the surface wasn't fulfilled, and Moshe Rabbeinu did part of the redemption, and the redemption will be fully manifest when Mashiach will come. That's why Moshe Rabbeinu is called the first redeemer and the final redeemer. There's something about what he did that wasn't complete and will only be complete when Mashiach will come. There's something that Mashiach will do that is not done only by himself, but something that began by Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu begins something, and Mashiach completes it. And as we learned last time about the prophecy of the coming of Mashiach in Parshas Vayechi, where Yaakov is blessing all of his children, and he says the monarchy will always remain with the tribe of Yehuda until Ad Ki Yavo Shiloh, until Shiloh will come. So as we learned last time, the Torah explains that Shiloh is a numerical equivalent to Moshe, and Yavo Shiloh, Shiloh will come, is a numerical equivalent to Mashiach. There is the potential for redemption. That's what Moshe Rabbeinu accomplished. And then there is the actual redemption, and that's something that Mashiach will do. So when Moshe Rabbeinu brought the world, will be completed by Mashiach. As we learned in the last class, in general, what that means. Today we'll go into more detail. What's the general thing that Moshe Rabbeinu accomplished? What's the thing that Mashiach will add to what he did? So to understand this, let's go to the words of the prophet about the coming of Mashiach. The words of the prophet are, Anoichi, Anoichi hu menachamchem. The prophet says, I will comfort you. Hashem says, I myself, and Hashem repeats it, I myself will comfort you. And we find also by the giving of the Torah, Hashem said, Anochi Hashem Elokecha, I am Lord your God. So the major change that the world will experience when Mashiach will come is that there'll be a revelation of godliness. Hashem will be revealed. But in this revelation, there are different stages. There's the beginning of the revelation, and then there is the complete revelation. And the complete revelation is associated with a double expression. I will comfort you. So let's unpack that. The beginning of the redemption that Moshe Rabbeinu started, the beginning of the Exodus culminates in this week's Torah portion, where not only are the Jewish people experiencing revelation, they're seeing godliness, but they experience revelation of godliness in a very vivid way. As it says that when the sea was split, a simple maidservant to see the splitting of the Red Sea saw more than the prophet Ezekiel. The prophet Yechezkel. They believed in Hashem. They served Hashem. But what happened at the splitting of the Red Sea was there was a revelation of godliness. And that revelation was far greater than anything they saw before through all the miracles of the plagues. And even that revelation was of no comparison to the revelation that they experienced when Hashem gave us the Torah, and Hashem said to the Jewish people, I am Lord your God. Chassidus uses a term to describe the unique revelation of godliness that they experienced. The words of the Talmud are, the Talmud says that at Mount Sinai, the Torah said they saw the thunder and they heard the lightning. So Rabbi Akiva says, what does that mean? They saw the thunder. They saw what's usually heard. The characteristic of the power of sight is that whatever we see with our eyes becomes very vivid to us, something that we can't forget about, something that we can never deny is real. Sight touches us, what we see touches us very deeply. Things we hear about, even from a very trusted source, don't enter us as deeply, and they also don't stay with us as long. And we don't have the same conviction about things that we hear about as things that we see. You're in court, you're cross-examined. It's possible that something you heard is not, you're not able to really keep up your game as a witness because of just things you've heard about. Things you've seen, you know what you saw. You're able to completely stay with it because it's part of you. So what are we able to see and what are we able to hear? Because we're physical people, we're only able to see physical things. Spiritual things are things we talk about because we're not able to bring them into ourselves as deeply. We can hear about them, we can understand them, we can't see them. This was the great novelty of the giving of the Torah, that they saw what's usually heard. There's an expression in Hasidic lexicon, elokus b'pshitus ilmus b'schachus. Godliness is natural, is obvious, it's clear, and the world is something novel. Versus another perspective is, the more natural perspective is, ilmus b'pshitus, the world is natural, the world is real, and godliness, elokus b'schachus, Hashem is something novel. So, ordinarily, because the soul is in a body, what the soul accepts as obvious is a physical reality, and the godliness that's in the world is something which is novel, something which is not as natural. And this was the great change that happened when God gave us the Torah, that they saw what's usually heard. It was revelation, where they were able to experience godliness in a very vivid and clear way. Chaim. I will give an analogy to explain the idea of godliness being obvious. It's in a court case, you have two people arguing over a talus. Reuven and Shimon are arguing over a talus. So they go to a judge, and the judge is supposed to administer justice and find out who is right, Reuven or Shimon, who is real owner of the talus. The judge looks at all the arguments and determines that Reuven is the true owner of the talus. So the judge awards the talus to Reuven. But Shimon isn't letting go. So the judge tells the bailey, tells the officer of the court to extricate the talus from Shimon and to present it to Reuven. So in the world of the judge and in the world of the plaintiff and the defendant, in the world of the officer, it seems to be very similar. We're all talking about Reuven and Shimon and the talus and who gets it. But actually they're living in very different worlds. In the world of the judge is only trying to understand the truth of the Torah. What does the Torah say? That's the judge's purview. What does the Torah say? And he looks into the Rambam and the Rashi and the Ri, and he discovers that the majority opinion sides with Maimonides, and therefore the true owner of the talus is Reuven. So for the judge, the reality is the truth of the Torah. And not just the truth of the Torah, the Rambam, the way the halachic ruling was how he came to the conclusion, who the opinions are, how the majority opinion follows the Rambam. That's how the judge comes to the conclusion. Versus the bailey, the officer, in his life, all that exists is there is a ruling. His task is to make sure that ruling is implemented. He is about the court order. That's what the reality is in his life. Versus in the life of Reuven and Shimon, they're not as connected to the Torah or connected to the ruling. They are just interested in the talus. That's their reality. So although they're all talking about the same thing, but they're living what they care about, what's meaningful to them, is completely different. So ordinarily, a human being lives in this world in a way that godliness is not vivid. That's why human reaction, when there is a, God forbid, there's a theft, the first reaction people have is how they get in, what they take, what's the damage, what do I have insurance, what will it cost? And then there is another reaction that happens a little later, maybe not much later, but it's from a different part of our reality. It's not as open and clear and vivid. And that is, what the mezuzahs? Are my mezuzahs kosher? Why is God doing this to me? Are my tefillin kosher? What did I do wrong? Why is this happening? So our bringing Hashem into the equation isn't our first natural response. Our first natural response is, what happened? And our second response is, why did this happen? So this is what the great novelty of the giving of the Torah was, that at the time of the giving of the Torah, instead of the physical reality being our natural and clear reality, it changed. And our reality became the revelation of godliness. We saw Hashem. It became vivid, the truth of Hashem, in a way that the physical reality didn't mean that much to us anymore. That's why the Torah continues and says, not only do we see what it is usually heard, we heard what's usually seen. We heard what's usually seen. The physical reality, which usually we see it, for us became, at the time of giving the Torah, it became like something that we only heard about, something that was abstract, something that was distant. It wasn't as vivid. So again, we're not talking about the truth of Hashem. We're talking about the truth of Hashem in us, the truth of godliness in us. And that's what the novelty of giving the Torah was, that there was revelation and we felt it. We felt this to be obvious. Everyone has similar experiences in life that we're maybe not as dramatic as giving the Torah, the splitting of the Red Sea. Everyone has different experiences in life where they've seen Hashem in a very vivid way. As the previous Rebbe said, anyone can go back to the last day of the last week and they can see divine providence in a very vivid way. The splitting of the Red Sea, as part of this, as a story I shared in Motzei Shabbos, so the previous Rebbe, during the time when Hasidim were trying to leave Russia to go to Poland, he was saying the song of Az Yashir. Somehow that was going to bring that same kind of godly revelation, and then being able to leave Egypt of Russia, and go into Poland. So there are vivid ways to see Hashem, but nevertheless, even the vivid revelation Mount Sinai is not the same as revelation of coming Mashiach. Revelation of coming Mashiach will be more obvious, because there's two different ways that godliness could be obvious. One way godliness can be obvious is because of the revelation. It's such an intense revelation. It's such a clear revelation. So therefore, this is the reality. In the language of the Talmud says, a maidservant at the splitting of the Red Sea saw more than the prophet Yecheskel. Does that mean that the maidservant became on the level of the prophet Yecheskel? Does that mean that she was as close to Hashem as the prophet Yecheskel? No. She remained a maidservant. And she remained with her simplistic views on life, and she went back. She was coming from discussing various recipes with the other lady crossing the Red Sea with her, and then all of a sudden they see the splitting of the Red Sea, and wow, that was pretty amazing. They saw godliness, but that doesn't mean that she changed her persona. She was discussing the recipes. She was discussing, and then she saw the revelation of Hashem. It became obvious. She saw it with her eyes. And again, when you see something with your eyes, it becomes obvious to you. But why is it obvious to you? Not because of you, but because of the revelation. The revelation of Hashem was so great, it was so manifest, it was so obvious, that even the maidservant saw it. But not that the maidservant changed. That's the meaning of the revelation at Mount Sinai, where Hashem says, I am the Lord your God. The revelation of godliness, Hashem is talking to us. And Hashem says, I am Lord your God. When Hashem gave us the Torah, it says in the Medrash, in the beginning of Kapitel Hey of Shoftim, it says that the other mountains wanted Hashem to give the Torah upon them. Mount Carmel, Mount Tabor, and they all came before Hashem, and they said, hey, why can't we have the Torah? And Hashem chose Mount Sinai, the Talmud says, because it was the lowest of all mountains. But Hashem also said, then I'm going to repay you, Mount Tabor. I'm going to repay you, Mount Carmel, for asking to have this opportunity, for wanting to have this opportunity. And you are going to be rewarded, Mount Tabor. I will utter from your mountain, I, Hashem, will comfort you twice. I, Hashem, will comfort you. And you, Mount Carmel, I will also give you something. And that is when the prophets of Baal will challenge the prophet Elijah. They will say that that the real God is the Baal. All the Jewish people will be present there, and you will do a miracle. And Eliyahu Navi will offer a sacrifice to Hashem, and a fire will come down from heaven. And all the Jewish people will say twice, Hashem is God, Hashem is God. So what is the repayment that Hashem gives those mountains? There will be a double revelation. At Mount Sinai, it says, I am Lord your God only once. But later Hashem says, I will comfort you twice. At Mount Carmel, they will say Hashem is God twice. What's the difference between saying it once or twice? What does that mean? So it says in Kabbalah and Chassidus that the role of Moshe Rabbeinu, the role of Moses is Shushvina de Malach. He is meant to be the escort of the king. He is meant to be transparent to godliness and to reveal Hashem in the physical world. That's the role of Moshe Rabbeinu. He's supposed to be transparent to Hashem. He's supposed to be a window to godliness. As we're learning in the Basel Guiding, Moshe Rabbeinu, he felt the revelation of Atzilus as he is a physical person walking in the world. Moshe Rabbeinu, the pregnancy of his birth was only 7 months, highlighting that in the transfer of his soul from the world of Atzilus to the physical world, there was a small trick. It wasn't that he was changing in each level and becoming more and more, as usually when the soul goes from level to level, the soul is changed in every level. Moshe Rabbeinu, it has in the Torah, when God refers to various tzaddikim, you find in the Torah sometimes Hashem repeats their name twice, and most of the time, when Hashem repeats their name twice, there is a psik, there is a separation in the cantillation, how we sing those two words. But with Moshe Rabbeinu, there's no psik, there's no separation, there's no change in the two. Because Moshe Rabbeinu, as he is in the physical world, he is revelation of godliness. He is speaking to Pharaoh, and he has glasses in the world of Atzilus. He could see beyond, he could see Atzilus. That's the experience of Moshe Rabbeinu. Eliyahu Navi, on the other hand, it says that his pregnancy was for 12 months. And that means that he has a different role. The role of Eliyahu Navi is not only about being transparent to the body, being transparent to the soul, about the body revealing godliness. The role of Eliyahu Navi and the role of Mashiach comes from David HaMelech, is about elevating the physical world. It means that although the Jewish people did experience revelation, Hashem gave us the Torah, and when the sea was split, but that revelation was coming because of Hashem. It wasn't because the world itself was a vessel for it. In other words, it's not that the eye changed. The eye still, its characteristics are to see physical things. And what happened then was that the revelation was so great that it even reached the characteristics of the eye. It was so obvious that even the eye, which only see the physical, could also notice this. It was such a revelation that reached the physical. It was an infinite revelation that touched even the physical reality. Therefore, the eye saw it too. And it was vivid, and it was obvious, and al-kus b'pshitus, godliness was obvious. However, it wasn't the eye itself that was able to have this revelation. It was just that the revelation was that. The eye remained the eye. The shifcha, the maidservant, remained this maidservant. The unique thing that's going to happen when Mashiach will come is, as the Torah says, the glory of Hashem will be revealed, and all flesh will see. Why will all flesh see? It seems because the glory of Hashem will be revealed. But the verse is saying two different things. There's a vav there. There's a vav saying the same. There's two different phrases, two different novel things. One is that the glory of Hashem will be revealed. And there's a second thing that all flesh will see. That means not that we're going to see the revelation of godliness merely because Hashem will be so revealed, but rather we're all called basar yachta. We're going to see because this will become the nature of the eye itself. The eye itself will, because of the characteristics of the eye, because the eye will become elevated the world will become elevated. So the I, as it is an I, will see godliness. Not because of the revelation of Hashem reaching the physical, but because the physical will be elevated. And this is the meaning of this prophecy of the coming Mashiach. Mashiach, Yahweh Shila will come. Moshe Rabbeinu brought revelation to the world in a very vivid way. But that's not what Mashiach will do. Mashiach will do something more. Not only will it be the revelation of godliness from above to below, that Hashem's light will shine so greatly that even the physical world could see it. But Hashem, when Mashiach will come, the revelation will be associated with the double expression, Anoichi, Anoichi, Menachem. I will come for you. That means not only will the revelation come from above, I am talking to you from above, but there's a double expression coming from the world as well. And that's the unique thing that Mashiach will do, that Moshe Rabbeinu began, but didn't complete. Moshe Rabbeinu began the revelation, but the world remained its own characteristics. And Mashiach and Eliyahu Navi, their role is to elevate the physical world. So the world itself, as it is a world, will reveal godliness. That's the I wanted to share today. Any questions or comments? All right.